Chapter 3 The Dawning Finding the Path. The breakthrough happened one day when Tenzin Palmo and her mother were about to go to Germany to spend Christmas with Mervyn, Tenzin Palmo's brother, who had joined the RAF and was stationed there. It was 1961, and Tenzin Palmo was 18. She had left her grammar school a year earlier and had started work at the Hackney Library, a nice, quiet job, just as her teachers had recommended. It suited her methodical, meticulous mind and great love of books admirably. She had hoped to go to university to study English and philosophy, but Lee could not afford it, and Tenzin Palmo had consoled herself with the thought that earning money would get her out of England quicker. The homesickness for the East was agonizing at times, she said. Needing something to read for her German holiday, she took 3 books from the library, a Sartre, a Camus, and one other, which she grabbed at the last moment because someone had just brought it in. It had a nice image of the Buddha on the cover, but it was the title, The Mind Unshaken, that caught her eye. In Germany she read the Sartre and the Camus, but for some reason had ignored the Buddhist book. In the airport on the way home, however, there was an 8-hour delay, and as it was a military establishment with no shops or amusements on offer, she had no alternative to relieve her boredom but to open its pages. She got halfway through it when she turned to her mother and said in a small, surprised voice, "I'm a Buddhist." Lee Perry replied in her down-to-earth way, "That's nice, dear. Finish reading the book and then you can tell me all about it." Tenzin Palmo was not so phlegmatic. To me, it was astonishing. Everything I had ever believed in, there it was. Much better stated than anything I could have formulated for myself, of course, but nonetheless, that view. It was exactly as I thought and felt. And together with that was this absolutely clear and logical path to get us back to our innate perfection. To be precise, what she had actually found in those pages was the Buddha's confrontation with the very same conundrum that had so struck her when she saw the people on the bus, the universal problem of aging, sickness, and death. The other thing I liked very much was the teaching on rebirth and the fact that there was no external deity pulling the strings. Also, when I encountered Hinduism, there was a lot of emphasis on Atman, soul, and its relationship with the divine. When I first heard the word Atman, I felt this nausea, this revulsion against even the word. Buddhism, on the other hand, was talking about non-Atman. There was no such thing as this independent entity which is self, with capital letters and blazing lights. To me, this was so liberating. It was so wonderful, finally, to find a religion, a spiritual path which proceeded from that. As with so many other strange predilections in her life, her inexplicable nausea over the word Atman would be made clear later on. But finally she had found it. "That book transformed my life completely," she continued. "I remember 3 days later walking to work and thinking, how long have I been a Buddhist? 3 days? No, lifetimes." She did not know then how right she was. Having discovered her path, Tenzin Palmo wasted no time stepping onto it. "If you're going to do something, you might as well do it properly," was her motto throughout all her life. This was no easy task in the Britain of 1961. Today, Buddhism is booming, with hundreds of books being published on the subject and meditation centres mushrooming everywhere. Even Bethnal Green's old fire station has metamorphosed into an exquisite Buddhist temple, an oasis of calm amidst the noise. But when Tenzin Palmo first stumbled upon the Buddha's message, she was very much on her own. Nevertheless, what she managed to discover, she took on board with the zest and naivety of a new convert. "I kept reading that the main thing in Buddhism was to be without desire, so I thought, right. I proceeded to give all my clothes to my mother for her to dispose of, and I started going around in this kind of yellow Greek tunic type thing. It went straight down, and I wore it with a belt and black stockings," she said, laughing at the memory.